Welcome to
Crazy, right?
a podcast
Be your own person.
for those affected by
Crazy, right?
mental health,
I wanted to just try it.
Crazy,
It's something that I've struggled with for a while.
featuring live improvised music
Now I finally got my head around again.
by your host,
am I right? Crazy,
It feels good to talk about it.
right? Crazy, right?
Dave Asher.
My guest today is Timothy Swaim. He is a Chicago-based actor and improviser, last seen on stage with Korn Productions' History of the Internet. He also premiered We the People, the anti-Trump musical, earlier this year. Timothy, thanks for joining me here in my studio. I'm going to step over here to my piano. Let's just be in this musical moment together and start. I'll make a musical offer, and then anything you want to say or respond or breathe, anything at all, just to get a ball rolling.
I wake up in the morning and I can see the sunlight coming through the slits of my blinds, and most of the time it's inviting, but a lot of the time it's not. I've been depressed since I was probably 14, and I don't know if I wasn't communicating how I was feeling correctly to the adults around me, or if I just wasn't being listened to. A lot of the time it just felt like I was a puzzle to be solved, like I was a problem, and if somebody could just cross the right wires, then everything would be okay, and I would be just like everyone else, I guess.
At this point, would you say that you want to be like everybody else?
No. But that's taken me a long time to get to.
Take me to your lowest point.
Okay, that's easy. So it's about 4 a.m. on a Monday, and I am dead drunk. Obviously off my rocker, trying to buy a bottle of like pink Moscato at 4 a.m, and I felt something kind of like a glass breaking, like I was trying to hold, my life and my work and my artistic work and my social connections. I was trying to juggle all of that while working on what I knew was half the energy that I would have on a good day, and it shattered. I called the city of Chicago at about 5 a.m. and told them I thought I was going to hurt myself.
Let's hear that call.
The first thing I remember is that I was hysterical. I was in tears. And I'm not a person that's easily cries. So when it came strong, like rain. And I remember thinking in my head, I was strategizing as to how I could make that phone call and be admitted to some sort of facility that morning, and then not have them send an ambulance after me. The guy who answered the phone, I do remember he seemed concerned. He seemed very concerned about me, and he wanted to send me an ambulance, and I had to insist, no, I'll just take an Uber. Meanwhile, I'm sobbing, trying to keep it together, and this guy on the phone can clearly tell that something is very, very wrong.
And this was a decision to quit using alcohol?
I started self-medicating pretty heavily when I was around when I turned 21. I went through a rough period in college. I went through a time in which I really, really started to doubt myself. I started to doubt that I was good enough at my art to make it my life, I started to doubt that the people around me who I know now love me with every part of themselves, I started to doubt that they cared about me or that they wanted me around. And it became kind of a cycle where the less I took care of myself, the more I felt like people didn't want me around. And the more I felt like that people didn't want me around, the less I would take care of myself, the more I would drink, the more I would use drugs, the more I would shirk off on responsibilities. And pretty quickly I started to feel ashamed of how much I was drinking. And it took me a couple of years, but I made the decision to stop. And that lasted a good 2 months. And then 2 months of some days were better than others. Some days I would cheat. Some days, some weeks I would go and be totally sober. And then the last 2 months, when I was breaking my sobriety just about every night. And meanwhile, I am telling people at work, I am telling my friends, I am telling my family that I'm not drinking anymore, and it created this dichotomy in my life. There was a part of me that I just wasn't showing anybody, and it started to affect my relationships with people because I started to see people as roadblocks to what my brain really wanted, which was to go numb. And I would be hanging out with people that I love, people that I care so deeply about. And in the back of my mind, there would always be that like whispering devil or whatever saying like, when are you gonna get out of here? When are we gonna go to the liquor store? And I disconnected from pretty much everyone in my life. I didn't want people to care about me, which is a lonely place to be. But it was better than feeling like I had left people down. I know that I have so much love in my life and so many people that genuinely care about me, and yet there is always something in me that you get the smallest doubt that like, are these people annoyed with me? Like, do these people want me around? Would these people just be happier if I went away? And then, there's another part that's you don't want to be a burden on people. I am a proud person. I don't like to be, I guess, coddled a lot. I like to feel like, an independent adult. Unfortunately, when you have a mental illness, it's not that simple. You do need help. You do need treatment, and that's something that's taken me a long time to get to. I always thought that I would just be fine, that I would just wake up one day and I would get everything I wanted because I would be able to show them, like, this was what I was doing all along. Kind of like a magic trick. Like, you're waiting to show everyone the life that you want. Mental illness is an ugly, ugly thing, and you don't want to show people. I think a lot of that is the societal stigma we have. Depression is sometimes romanticized a little bit. The truth of it is very ugly. I feel guilty even saying it, but I kind of lose the ability to care enough about myself to take care of myself. Even doing things I like.
What's your favorite thing to do?
Oh God. My favorite thing to do is perform for people. Making people laugh, making people think, making people feel something. I got addicted to that at a very young age, and that's been my outlet my entire life. And pretty much for the first time, I never wanted to do anything else. With artists too, it's tricky since we are in such an unstable field. I think that the ups and downs of being a creative and also of, living in a city where you gotta pay the bills, you gotta pay your rent, it comes with a lot of stress and a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of times it feels like you're just at the whim of the wind and you have no control over your life. And for a person who struggles with depression, you want to be in control. I have a tendency to try to take control of how people see me. I want to be seen as someone who is just always gonna be fine. I want to be one of those people that you go to for advice, that you can talk to about anything, and you know that, like, I have it figured out. And unfortunately, I just don't think I am.
Do you feel like on your life journey, to be happy, you have to at some point figure it all out?
I think if that were true, we would all be screwed.
Absolutely.
I'm at a point in my life, and this is both terrifying and exciting, where I kind of get to learn who I am again without alcohol. It's been a big part of my life for a long time. Living in a city, you're a little surrounded by it sometimes. I don't mind so much being around other people that are drinking or indulging in whatever. My big thing is loneliness, and it's tricky because I have a problem with loneliness, and yet I don't want to ask people for help. So I would say I think the big thing for me is going to be, one, learning how to ask for help, and then secondly, and these are two different things, learning how to then accept the help when you ask for it and someone offers it. I want to get to a point where I know myself well enough to say, like, no, I'm actually not fine. I actually do need someone to talk to, or someone to do me a favor, or someone to help me out while I am not feeling 100% myself, because I know that I can get back to that place. I'm on an upward track right now. Right now, I feel pretty good. I just started a new job. I have 2 new shows coming up. I have reconnected with a lot of the social connections that I let slip while I was kind of drowning in myself. But I'm not always gonna be like that, and I know myself well enough to know that now. It's like living with any medical condition. It doesn't make you any less of a person. It doesn't dull who you are. It just means that you have to live a little bit more mindfully. I'm gonna learn how to let things pass. I'm going to learn how to not hold on to the dark thoughts. If I can get to that point, I think that would be a pretty good place to be.
Faith that you're going to get through it even if it gets rough.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you being so open and sharing like this. I hope you'll come back again sometime and we can check in on that development.
Thank you. I hope I have plenty to share.
Thank you again to my guest, Timothy Swaim. You can follow him on Twitter at TRSWaimothy. That's TRSWAIMOTHY. Also, he has a project coming up in Chicago in July. He says he can't go into it yet, but if you like improv or nerdy stuff, stay tuned on his Twitter to find out more about that. All the best, Timothy. That wraps up this episode of Crazy Right with Dave Asher. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider writing a review or rating this podcast. And of course, we would love it if you subscribe. I'm Dave Asher, and I'm glad to be here.
Fall down.